Creedon, good evening to you, James.
Evening, Tom.
Now, the story of the French president meeting the Pope has been very much a story we've been covering in the news. And just judging by the pictures, both men looking rather somber, rather serious.
That's right. And indeed, I wonder if Pope Francis was not even given the indication by his press people, or didn't come to the same conclusion himself, that he should not smile, given all of the revelations about the private life of François Hollande in the last number of weeks. A man standing for, I suppose, certain Catholic principles and virtues could not be seen to be too smiley around François Hollande at the moment. So I suspect that was part of the strategy. And indeed, you can see here images of the two men looking not altogether at ease or comfortable in each other's company. And indeed, there was very little smiling. The Huffington Post.fr has gathered together a number of the tweets that even the Élysées people couldn't find much better than this. That is the French presidential office. They obviously are trying to make this look as cordial as possible, and they're still finding it difficult to find images of Mr. Francesco, well, not Mr., Father Francesco, looking as beaming as he is there with that little lamb. So indeed, he can be very cheerful, but he chose on this occasion to be somewhat less so. Now, also in the Huffington Post, they're talking about two faux normaux. Now, what do they mean by that? Two falsely normal individuals. Now, both men in their communications attempt, I suppose, or have in the past attempted to give off this image of being very everyday people, ordinary, down with the people. Indeed, François Hollande campaigned on a platform of being normal, Monsieur Normal, une présidence normale, a normal presidency. And they're saying here, well, actually, the recent revelations about François Hollande have revealed that he's not so normal after all. And indeed, a lot of people in his entourage said that this is revealing the steel underneath the sort of soft image, that in fact he's made of steel. And I suppose of Pope Francis as well, he might be very affable, but he's also quite the strategist in terms of shifting the Catholic Church perhaps in a more less conservative direction. So there you go, two falsely normal individuals, Tom.
Perhaps beyond the first name, the common ground between the two men ends
Which
there.
Indeed, and in the French media, they're both François. It's not Pope Francis, it's Pope François. So two Franks, and indeed frank discussions, as we were saying earlier, between the two Franks.
Very frank discussion. And it's a pretty Frank from France didn't bring a lamb with him to cheer up Frank in the Vatican.
Well, he did bring, what animal did he bring to Mali that time? He brought
he was given a baby camel.
A camel. There you go.
But he didn't. Sadly, I don't think that came back to the Elysee. But cartoonists are perhaps having more fun than we are right now about that encounter between the two men.
They're certainly not holding back. Let's take a look at some of those cartoons that are hitting social media and news websites. You can see there François meeting Francis in the confessional, and a lot of French wordplay there, because pécheur means to sin. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. But péchot means to have a lot of success with the ladies, so that's very convenient for the satirists. And you can see the motorcycle helmet resting on the ground outside the confessional. And here, habemus papam. Do we have a pope? Do we have a first lady? Is the question being asked of François Hollande there by somebody. And this is Le Monde's cartoonist Plantu. I don't think that's how François Hollande arrived in his official cortege at Vatican City with two ladies, behelmeted ladies behind him. I think they had better things to do. Also worth pointing out is this cartoon by a well-known French cartoonist Joan Svar, who is behind the Rabbi's Cat. Don't blame me. What is it again? Please don't blame me. And he said, I'm not saying anything at all, in fact.
Because that's actually a line he's come out with, who am I to judge?
That's it.
He's used that before.
Indeed. Who am I to judge him? Yeah.
Which brings us very neatly into the next item, which is, of course, the Première Dame, the First Lady, Valérie Trierweiler, who's actually travelling to India on Sunday in an official capacity. What's this about?
That's right, and it has left analysts rather confused, because she is travelling in her official capacity, yet all of the sources, anonymous sources at the Élysée Palace who have been speaking to French media say that, in fact, François Hollande has still not made up his mind about his couple, or about the official couple. So you can see here, BFM TV, their headline is, the Élysée is embarrassed by this official trip by Valérie Trierweiler, and some have even gone so far as to call her, as John Litchfield of the Independent, crazy. Now, that is, according to John Litchfield, that is what somebody at the Elysee said, that she's just out of hospital. It's crazy that she's going on this trip, and it is actually dismissing the Elysee Palace's advice. She has been staying for the last week at La Lanterne, which is the president's second residence in Versailles. So a lot of people wondering, is she heading off as Francois was going to the Vatican for a bit of spiritual advice? Is this all about going to India to stay at an ashram in Eat, Pray, Love style, for those who are familiar with the chick lit? Probably not. And she is going, let it be said, for a French charity called Action contre la faim, or Action Against Hunger, a trip that was planned for some time, but everyone expected her not to go, pending the private life of the first couple being clarified.
All right, thank you very much indeed for that, James Creedon.
Thanks, Tom.
That was Media Watch.